Bayern were exceptional in this match, beating Chelsea by 3-0. Bayern have been brilliant in the Champions League so far this season. Perfect, in fact. 7 games, 7 wins, 27 goals as well for them. They were really, really good today, weren't they? Particularly in that second half.
I think that was, maybe some people will disagree. I think they've saved their best performance of the season by far for this game.
Yeah.
They were absolutely brilliant. At half-time, we could point to a few signs that maybe Chelsea were going to keep themselves in it. Mason Mount had a couple of very good chances, but Alphonso Davies' pace got back in and thwarted him. There was a couple of other half chances, but Bayern were dominant in the first half, and they were super dominant in the second half. It was night and day. Germany's best team against the 4th best team at the moment in the Premier League, who had a transfer ban, who lost their best player, and it showed. It really showed. Frank Lampard went with the same outfit that he went with at the weekend, in the same shape. But they were absolutely taken apart by this Bayern team, who struggled against Paderborn on Friday, bottom of the Bundesliga. At home, I know they made some changes, but they really laboured. They did not labour today.
They like going to London. 7 against Spurs in the group stages.
Yeah, they're intimidated by the big city and the big lights. Really intimidated, Bayern Munich. Well, I can tell you that the individual talent of Bayern Munich, when you see the 2-man game between Serge Gnabry and Robert Lewandowski, the understanding as to where the space is going to be, when to play the ball one touch, when to hold it a little bit and give enough time for Lewandowski to get him behind or Serge Gnabry to get him behind. And then the real pace of Alphonso Davies, which there is no substitute for. You can't teach it. When the guy gets going, there is nobody catching him. And he can do that offensively, but as Craig just alluded to, he can do it defensively as well. So he helps you quite a bit down the left-hand side. That left-hand side of Bayern Munich is untouchable. Alphonso Davies gets going with pace. Serge Gnabry can come from the left-hand side as well. Lewandowski sometimes takes himself out of the middle into the left-hand side. And today Chelsea couldn't deal with it. And to the point to where Chelsea now is throwing players and numbers trying to figure out 1v1 situations. Well, 1v1, Alphonso Davies was spacing behind, he's going to win that all the time. Lewandowski was excellent with his movement of the ball, and Serge Gnabry, who continues to tell the story of a player where something clicks at some point in someone's career, and the maturity is shown, and the true ability comes out, and the full potential of Serge Gnabry. You're seeing it right now, and it is outstanding.
Frank Leboeuf with us as promised. Frank, how impressed were you with Bayern today?
A lot. I have to say that, as the guy says, on the left side, with Davies and Gnabry and Thiago, that was absolutely fantastic. And I was so I would say sad for James, who discovers, in fact, the Champions League and can see how far he is to reach the top level. So we wish him the best, but he's gonna have to work a lot. He seemed to be very juvenile with Mount especially in that game. Bayern Munich has everything that you need to win the Champions League. They're very compact. Boateng comes back to his best, as is Müller. Was completely forgotten with the previous coach, and is back to the race, and that's fantastically well. Of course, Gnabry and Lewandowski, they find each other, even with their eyes closed. And again, the left side, goes fast, goes back and forth, work together, gave everything. So I'm very, very impressed so far. They're my favourites for the Champions League. I want to see tomorrow Real Madrid, Manchester City, of course, but they are the favourites. But they have to say that I didn't see Chelsea. I want to know when Chelsea is going to play against Bayern Munich the first leg. They weren't there. We didn't see Kovacic. We didn't see Jorginho, who on top of it took a stupid yellow card. But they are the masters. But normally in the team, they show normally, and they have the key of the team, but they didn't show anything. And except Caballero, maybe at the beginning, first half, everybody was invisible. That's very sad.
But they're not quite at that level at the moment. That's why they're a country mile off Liverpool at the top, as are most teams. But that's why they're trying to stave off the Tottenhams and the Man Uniteds of this world and the Sheffield Uniteds. That's kind of where they are at the moment. So when the only kind of hope they had was to put in their best performance of the season at home and hope Bayern had a pretty average day.
Right.
Well, that didn't happen on both factors. So when you put both of those factors in, it's going to be a struggle for them. I never felt like the bookies, I don't think anybody did in here, that they would go through over the two legs. But I did feel personally that they would have been able to put up a better fight, certainly in this home one, which was their only chance. But clearly, they were not at the races. The one thing from Bayern, and Frank said he's got them as favourites, some have. Nobody was really talking about that before the winter break. Like Hansi Flick, the coach, was tinkering with the team, and Coutinho was in and out. I think now he's found this particular 11 in this shape is his best one going forward, barring injuries. Because for all the reasons the boys mentioned, Coman, Gnabry, Müller, Lewandowski, Thiago, Kimmich, that's a fantastic balance.
Favourites?
It's an open competition. And there isn't a team that you say, yeah, head and shoulders above everybody else, just because you thought that Liverpool might have been that team. Well, right now they're trailing. And so what I would say about Bayern Munich that was impressive today was that they showed that they have a different gear to go to that Chelsea was nowhere near finding and do not have it within their potential. Whereas Bayern Munich today, when they turned it on, when they picked up the pace, when the passing was quicker, the movement of the ball was simpler, that's when Bayern Munich were at their very best. And there was no answer from Chelsea. I don't know that there are many teams in Europe that have that gear. And if that's the case, yes, they're among the favourites.
Well, yeah, but they're among them. But I think all of us, I think clearly what we're seeing here already is people getting out the blocks, jumping the first fence with Bayern Munich and going. They've beaten Chelsea at home, away, comfortably. Chelsea. Right? This is not the Chelsea we know. They haven't gone to the Nou Camp or the Bernabeu. They haven't gone to Anfield or Paris and absolutely caned one of these teams. They've gone to a team who is, by Premier League standards at the moment, average. Great performance. However, there are other teams in here, I think, that are still before them. They would have to have done... If they'd have gone to Anfield and come away with 3-0, I'd have went, oh, my God, who's going to stop them? Or the Bernabeu. But it's Chelsea at this moment in time who have been beaten by Bournemouth at home and others. So, I would calm down a bit on Bayern.
Are we being a bit too easy on them? This time last week we were particularly harsh on Spurs, losing 2-1 against Leipzig.
Well,
Mourinho
Spurs are not a good side. We've seen them play recently. They're not a good side.
But what I mean is we sat here and we said Mourinho, this, that and the other. It was all very critical. Here we're complimenting Bayern a lot, but no one's questioned Frank Lampard. It's almost like, well, Chelsea are a young team. They had a transfer ban.
Well, who questioned Tottenham losing to Leipzig? I don't think many people thought Tottenham would win against Leipzig. Leipzig are second in the Bundesliga. They were top for a while. They're a better side. Tottenham have regressed. They have injuries. They're not a good side. They're not a good side to watch. Chelsea are a better side, but clearly not good enough to compete with Bayern Munich. You can look at Lampard and say, went with the three again at the back and the wing backs. That's a mistake. It's hindsight. He could have gone to a back four. They've got the personnel. It's something he chose to do off the back of Alonso's good performance and Reece James's good performance, amongst others. But it just didn't happen, and they were exposed.
The criticism following the Spurs game was on Jose Mourinho and his handling of the post-game press conference and the interviews he gave, in which he was already giving you reasons as to why he had lost that game and why he would lose in the weekend against Chelsea. We talked about it, we mentioned it, well documented, captain deflected. That was the criticism, because it's a team that could potentially have done better than what they did against Leipzig, and they were not allowed to do so by their manager. As it pertains to Chelsea, it's a team that has shown to be inconsistent. So this is not a surprise. It should not be a surprise that Bayern goes into Chelsea and wins the game in the manner in which they did. The surprising part is, for the first 45 minutes, it looked like, okay, maybe. But as I just mentioned earlier, when Bayern Munich went to a different level, Chelsea had no answer for that.
Meanwhile, as you mention it and use the nice phrase to describe it, it just has clicked for Gnabry at exactly the right time.
There's nothing better to see from the outside looking in, to see a player who had his trials and tribulations and was on loan at West Brom from Arsenal, and he couldn't for some reason couldn't cut it. He's a world beater. I mean, he's quality, he's quick, he's strong, he's alert, he knows what's around him, he's got a picture, he can score goals, he can set them up, and I can only credit the lad himself, because Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah.
And you can sit back and say, well, Arsenal let him go and that coach didn't see this. But sometimes a player in training might have an injury, a lack of confidence, a bad attitude or whatever it is, lifestyle. And then it just sorts itself out. And the other side, he's playing with better players.
Yeah.
He goes to Munich and you're not allowed to be slacking.
No, and you're alongside Robert Lewandowski. Frank, is it fair to say the best striker in the world at the moment?
Well, if he's not the number one, he's not that far. He shows so much composure, selfishness as well. You know, when in the way that he served twice, where especially the first assist where he could have shot. And he's a fantastic player. I love the way he plays, the way he thinks football, the way he makes his runs. Shows me that he knows very well what he has to do, and he does it very, very well. On top of it, he's a top scorer, and he never gives up. He was still, after 3-0, he was still showing himself. I want the ball. Give me the ball. I'm going to run after the. And when I lose, as soon as I lose the ball, Sorry, I'm going to chase the guy. I mean. Fantastic mentality, fantastic player. If he's not the first, he's not too far.
He's the first.
He's the first.
Yeah.
He's head and shoulders above everybody else right now.
He's the first.
Hold up play, link up play, runs the channels, batters defenders around, heads it on, clever.
Those 2 assists today were
The
brilliant.
assist when he could easily have shot, most people would have shot. The goal scoring, the work rate, best by a long shot.
There's another thing that he does quite well, and it's the timing of his runs. As the crosses are coming in, you always see him attacking the ball at the perfect moment. And that takes some patience, that takes some understanding, that takes anticipation, knowing where the ball is going to go, and then to have the change of pace to get there and finish the chance. He's something else right now.
What do you reckon odds for Chelsea to qualify for the next round?
I would say 1 to 100 against.
50 to 1. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich 500 to 1 on. That means you have to put £500, dollars, euros, whatever you want.
Well, I tell you what, I'm quite happy to put $500 on to win $1.
There you go. Perfect.
What? I'm getting $1.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.